out or not does reveal your hand a little bit to the other rider. Dave pressing Merv quite closely up at the fence at the moment. Merv a little bit in front at the moment, so he does have a slight advantage as he comes around that corner. Dave pushing him high up on the fence. But again, not really leading enough at this point to be assertive enough there. Merv with the opportunity to run off if he wants it. You know, ideally in that position, Dave would be a half a wheel in front of Merv rather than sitting side by side with him, so Merv able to carry a little bit more speed around the corner. This time Dave now just starting to move a little bit in front. See where the move happens. It hasn't gone the usual way it would with a race against Dave Thomas. He's being a little unpredictable, and Merv makes the move around the outside with a run off the bank, and he's got the jump into the lane. Dave chasing hard, but Merv with a big jump there, and Merv able to conceal his speed around the top. It's a very popular move in this track is to ride around the rail and keep your speed up. Merv now well clear of Dave. Dave swinging up, and he appears to have capitulated. And Merv's still driving for the lane. He can shut it down now if he wants. Crosses the line with a safe win there. Christensen, Nick Mark and Ben Schofield need to be down on the rail now, please, guys. And our A-graders need to be getting themselves sorted as well. Vanessa Boff leading this one out in the Giramondo skin suit on the giant branded BT. And she's followed by Janine, both wearing predominantly black gear on predominantly red bikes with predominantly red helmets. Janine with the blonde hair, and she's following at the moment. She's going to need to be fairly assertive if she's to be a chance against Vanessa. Vanessa did qualify a lot quicker, almost 0.9 of a second, so Janine's going to need to be fairly assertive. But the problem she has is that Vanessa's a pursuer primarily, and she's not going to slow down. And Vanessa makes a move there with about 350 metres to go. Has Janine got the legs to get into the draft and come past her? At this point, it doesn't look like it. I think Vanessa's just going to be too strong. She has a bit of a look over her shoulder. But Janine's still coming. Janine is chasing. And she's just shutting down that gap a little bit, but I think at this point the gap is going to be too much to cover. And Vanessa is going to take this one as comfortably as you can ever take a sprint. And she has a bit of a roll over the line and looks up series in April of 2010. So Claire has ridden this series very competitively in the past, but I think she's a bit rusty. Jennifer Campbell is leading out at the moment in the black and yellow Teams Black kit. Claire at the moment with a little bit of an advantage. Again, she's hiding her speed by riding directly beside Jennifer as she comes around the bank, which means of course she's going a little bit quicker. If you remember back to high school, and you can remember your pi d and your pi r squared and so forth. Well, Neil would just like to eat the pie. Claire makes a move around the outside, and she does have to travel further, but she's also got more speed, and they're side by side now, 307 metres to go. Claire just in front and manages to take the lane. Jennifer chasing hard, grits her teeth. Not an awful lot between these two, but Claire just stretching it out, but Jennifer's still coming. And she is charging up that back straight. That headwind up the back straight does take it out of you a little bit, and the lead rider does have to work pretty hard. But I think at this point, Claire, the defending, or should I say outgoing Trevor Watson trophy holder, is now... There's a young man who can rev. And he's wearing the aboc skin suit in the front. And he opens up the door there, giving Dave an opportunity to take the lane if he wants it. Doesn't seem to want to at the moment. Happy to sit behind and below, which is a particularly vulnerable spot to be in. There's not an awful lot you can do from there. Now he moves up behind James, attempting to get in his blind spot, maybe jump in. A low pace will suit James. He wants a short, sharp one. He's on that tiny little gear. Nicholas again dropping underneath. Not terribly assertively at this point. Sort of drifting down into position as it looks like James kept the pace off around the bank. James content to try and put Nicholas into the lead. In that transition point into turn 3, the pace drops right off again. Now the lead rider coming into turns 1 and 3 has a little bit of an advantage. They can do a thing we call a hook and drop, where you're forcing the other rider up the track, and you can dive away quite quickly and very rapidly open up a gap. And that's a bit of a signature move of Emily Apolito, who will use that here quite regularly. She's not racing today. And also, Shane Perkins, who used it to particular effect up at the National Championships in Sydney not long ago, where he won the national title by using a hook and drop off turn 3 on a number of occasions to control this track position. Yes, it will all be in the book. But if you get a chance to watch the videos, in particular of Shane Perkins racing the sprints at the Australian titles not long ago, you'll see him use it with a lot of effect to control this position on the track. The pace still fairly low. Nicholas getting a little bit anxious now. James still looking pretty comfortable. This is going the way he wants it. James makes that move around the outside and uses his jump, and he's still got height on the bank, and watch him get the run off the bank there. Again, he doesn't have to work terribly hard, and the rider down low coming out of the turns is always in a vulnerable position unless they shut the lane down, and James just had to roll off the bank, and then he takes that one by the bicycle. Aaron does it again, takes off early. John content to just get onto his wheel and sit there at the moment. I don't think he'll be too worried by that at this point, but Aaron wants the pace up reasonably high. John takes a bit of height, trying to give himself something to run at him. Takes height up around the bank. Aaron trying to pull him down, and does so. He can't let too much gap open up there. Coming now to get a lap to go. Aaron backs off, John takes more height. And waiting to swoop. Aaron's going to need to keep the pace very high if he's to maintain his control, and he tries to keep the pace up, but John with a big kick around the outside. That's a big jump there from the young man. And Aaron again just caught a little bit napping. And John flies away to take a commanding win. As our race now underway, Ben Schofield in the blue and white, Nick Mark in the white. Ben with the disc wheel and the aero spoke, Nick with the 2 deep section carbon rims. Ben moving well clear, and Nick laying off him a long way, trying to give himself a bit of space. He doesn't want to give him too much room, because Ben will get away. And Nick wants to be careful that it doesn't allow it to happen. But Nick was quite confidently there, but Ben taking a little bit of advantage of that extra gap and really opening it up. And I think he might have committed fairly early to this, and he's given Nick a lot of chasing to do. Nick has come from this position in the past, though, and managed to mow down the rider in front. And it looks like he might be having a crack at it now. He's got on top of the gear now, and he's running at Ben now. And come watch him pass on that, back straight. And I think he shut it down a little bit as he realised he's going to do it fairly easily. So that 0.7 second difference in qualifying, again working well there in Nick Mark's favour. On a number of occasions, he has, unless something goes dreadfully wrong, won the Trevor Watson Trophy for the year. And Neil will be very assertive. And he's not thinking about eating that pie at all. He's much more concerned with the sausages at the barbecue at the end. So you're just keeping a very close eye on what happens here. Neil giving Chris a little bit of room there, certainly enough that it's not unsafe. It looks like Neil may have gone down in gear a little bit. I don't think he's on that 104 anymore by the look of things. If he did qualify on. We may even know what his gear is, but it will be unfair to reveal it to his competition. Chris at this point content to ride at a fairly low speed and presumably rely on his jump as they come round through the end of turn 4. Let's see who makes the move. Bit of a game of chicken at the moment. Who's going to jump first? Neil with the opportunity now to hook and drop as they come into turn 1. Will he do it? And force Chris up the track and dive away. It is a classic move. Chooses not to do it at this point. They're going to turn it into a run off turn 3. They're still, Neil now ducks down and dives away. Chris responds very quickly. He knew it was coming sooner or later. Neil pushing hard. Chris with a bit of work here to do to come around him, but he hits the gas now as he comes around through the back of the corner. Neil holding a nice tight line. This one's going to be pretty close. He can ride it blindfolded upside down with his head screwed on backwards, I'm sure of it. He's ridden I don't know how many countless thousands of laps of this track. And there's not a centimetre of it he doesn't know. And he's an assertive rider and a magnificent competitor. Let's see how this one pans out. Certainly Jamie took it right up to Chris Ray in the last round and really made him work for his win and never gave him a chance And it was only Chris's superior speed that made it almost impossible for Jamie to actually win it. And we just with a little bit of a flick there, trying to keep Nicholas a bit of respectful distance off his back. It's legal at the moment, the race hasn't started yet, well at least the sprint hasn't. Once the sprint starts, the lead rider is not allowed to leave the lane. But the sprint hasn't yet started. Now it has. Jamie jumps out of the saddle with a big kick, and he's got the inside running, and that does mean he's got about 3 or 4 metres left to go. Nicholas now trapped on the hip of Jamie. He will have a bit more speed as he comes around the outside corner. Jamie holding a nice neat line. This is a real close charge for the line. Journey